Everybody ready for the crying show? All right.
What kind of show?
Crying show.
Crying?
Crying.
As in tears?
Yeah. Cheers. You're a sweetheart.
How serious is this?
That's good. That's good. For the first question, I have a second question. I may need more. So I'm a combat veteran. I train bomb dogs in Iraq. You know, with that comes some exposure to things. I worked with special forces and infantry. I've been receiving different healing modalities since 2007. I've come an extremely long way, but I would like to know how I can approach other combat veterans and help them.
The reason that we are happy to have this brief conversation with you, and it has to be brief, is because it's sort of what we were talking about earlier, that when you are in something that's exaggerated and something that's dramatic and traumatic and something that's really physical and really involving a lot of your physical senses, that you have lots of strong reactions to and opinions about, and you're just jumping in with them right where they are and wanting to give them something, there's very little that you can give them that's going to make any difference. It's like what you said about this long way that you've come, but you can shore yourself up. So now, what would finding some, you can feel it in the room, what would finding some, not enough boxes of Kleenexes for this room, what would finding some satisfaction in the middle of something like that feel like? We are eternal beings. We have source energy flowing through us. We are so often guided. We find ourselves involved in things that are coming from a deeper level. We are where we are. While we would like to snap our fingers and transport ourselves out of this experience altogether, that's not a reality that's really going to happen right here and now. You have to just keep starting over and keep starting over and keep starting over yourself, with reminding yourself that everything is about free will, that everyone is choosing to participate in the way that they do, that everyone has an inner being, that consciousness is flowing, that there are not rights or wrongs in terms of the behavior that people should be offering, that everyone is self-empowered, that everyone has good timing, that everyone has healing ability, that law of attraction is always working, that inspiration is always flowing, and that I, as an individual, and this is what you're really wanting to impart to them, when I'm really tuned into this, and I've figured out how to do it, when I'm really tuned into this, I find myself knowing what to do. I find myself in vibrational sync with broader perspective. I find myself doing things that I don't even know that I know how to do. I find myself making really good choices. I find that the important things are standing out to me. I'm not doing things in a rote way. Nothing is just normal. This is just the way we always do it. Every interaction with every person is an intuitive, in the moment experience, like it is with the animals. They're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. They're trained to do what they do, but they're using senses that humans usually do not use. If you're wanting to teach the other ones, ask them to watch their animals, because their animals know these things. Yes? Close enough?
Yeah, friend, that's...
Now see what's happening. It's all right. You can't fix things out here.
Right.
And you can tell by the way you feel that even though we're going to say some really, really good things to you, they're not going to settle in a really strong way. So can you get back to an earlier place? I have a friend. Go ahead and say it.
Yes.
I have a friend
going through very serious cancer in the brain.
Now just sit there for a minute and feel it. A lot of people relating to that in some form. So sit with it for a moment and feel what you're feeling and tell us what it is. Just call it out. Sadness, grief, worry, hopelessness, loss, empathy. That's good. So disconnection, 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 disconnection. Logical. So would further pursuit into this experience be likely to soothe the disconnection or to cause the disconnection to be more? It'll make it more. So it's clear that the answer isn't diving in service. Because if you don't get aligned, you don't have anything to give anybody anyway. So how far back do you have to go? Well, maybe since we're already here in this conversation and we've already talked about it enough, maybe in this moment in time we can't even get back there. Maybe it would take a good night's sleep. Maybe it would take waking up in a new day. Maybe it would take waking up in a new day and having a time in meditation to quiet your mind, to remember the wholeness of who you are, the wholeness of who your friend is.
We can get there fast thanks to your teachings. This friend, I've opened her up to your teachings, and I feel as though it's guiding her and empowering her to overcome this, and it's beautiful.
We agree with you completely. But it isn't where you started in this conversation just now.
Correct.
And that's really the thing that we're wanting to call to your attention. Don't start in the hard place.
Right.
Don't keep activating the hard place and then thinking that you're going to get from a hard place to an easier place. Don't start there. If you had started there, this whole conversation would have been different. My friend and I have figured that we can be or do or have anything that we want, and we're living some contrast, real light, which has caused an activation of desire, and inner beings are working overtime, big time, full time. Feel the difference. Show yourself the difference in the way you feel when you think about it this way and when you think about it this way, and stop being the practical, got to tell it the way it is to explain it to others in the way they're used to hearing it way. Get into that place where you have the leverage.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Didn't even need all those trainings.
I appreciate you so much.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.